moved to Paris from Boston on a whim. I'd visited Paris a few years back and fallen in love with it. Now I wanted to really get to know it. In my first weeks, I went everywhere. The Champs-Élysées, Notre Dame, Sacré-Cœur, the Louvre, the Luxembourg Gardens, and then I hit a wall. I needed to settle down, and not just with work. I was already in love with Paris, but I wanted to fall in love in Paris. So I went online. I took some photos of myself, compiled a profile, and waited to see what would happen. That first week, I got a number of replies. Naturally, I had a problem with each one of them. That's what happens when you can flip from one prospect to the next in a second. This wasn't fair, but I was in no mood for fair. It would take a while to sort through them, and the thought of carefully analyzing each profile overwhelmed me. So I decided to apply the Rorschach test. Over-analytical of my garbage. Loner. What's this kid doing here? No one's going to be good enough for this guy. Oh my, he's already in a box. Creepy? After a month of lattes, I'd be back to making my own instant coffee. He's milking the French cow, and it's giving me allergies. Hold everything. This guy's got 2 profiles. That's Ryan. Well, moving on. And then there was Frank. Totally normal. Not bad. I'll give him a call.
Hello.
I explained I was calling from the dating website. We talked for a little while. He seemed quite interesting. He had an unusual point of view. It came time to make plans.
I'd like to take you out for dinner.
Well, we don't know each other. Why don't we just meet for coffee?
I do not want to take you out for coffee. I want to take you out for dinner.
Was he puffing on a cigarette? This was getting more and more interesting. Plus, I'd seen a cute cafe I wanted to visit in Montmartre. We met at a nice French restaurant, and it was Grandpa, but not mine. That would have been awkward. It explained why he wouldn't meet for coffee. No woman would stay. He was 20 years older than his profile. Did he think I wouldn't notice? What did everyone else look like?
They were all 15 years older. Of course, being a gentleman, I still took them to dinner.
Was he for real? Or was he truly unaware? I needed to know. No matter what I asked, he was suspicious. When did you move to Paris?
You're interviewing me. I don't like it.
We talked politics instead. His views were opposite mine. Normally, I'd have argued him to death, even on a first date. Yeah, it's reckless, but that's me being me. This time, I was focused on figuring out his age and staring at the hair coming from his ears. When does that begin? You know, I didn't even miss the arguing. That's wisdom. He complimented me on my slenderness and apparent good health. I'd just been diagnosed with a lipoma. I didn't feel obliged to tell him, as it wasn't fatal or contagious. Lumps of fat usually aren't. The waiter comes over to tell us the specials.
You're crazy. Can't you see she's the special?
Unlike a typical French waiter, this guy had no experience flirting with older women. Awkward. I couldn't wait to order. I wanted the liver, but they both told me I was crazy not to get the lamb shank.
You're crazy.
It cost way too much, but it had veggies. He then tells me his vision for us.
In the kitchen we will cook, and we will cook. I have a great hamburger recipe.
Oh? What is it?
It's a secret.
Clearly, this will never be a meeting of the minds, nor of anything else. Maybe I can slip away.
I know how to throw a knife.
I discreetly settled back in my chair. It was halfway through the main course when he announced,
The moment has come for a deal breaker. You know what that means.
I shake my head.
I want a cigarette. Most women would say it's over at this point.
At last, a window of opportunity. I'm sorry, but that is a deal breaker.
Women like you always say that.
He left me to wrestle with feelings of small-mindedness as he went off to smoke that first cigarette. Instead, I went back to the lamb shank. I hate being called small-minded. I was determined not to use his smoking against him. It was time for Plan B. Normally, I don't talk about my faith with strangers because I may say I go to church and they're hearing, I've joined a cult, you'll love the leader. So I ask about his faith.
You won't sleep with me tonight, so I'm not going to tell you.
I'm trying not to think he's a loser. It'd be so satisfying, but I'm supposed to think loving thoughts. It was impossible. I tried to distract myself by looking around, but I didn't want to catch anyone's eye. They might think I was his plaything. I'm no one's lamb shank, so I looked down at my plate. The vegetables were delicious.
I'm agnostic and Jewish. No, really, I'm an atheist. What would be the benefit of converting?
I recognized this for what it was. Words. First date words. For once I saw them for what they were. Empty. This insight was a small personal victory. It was time to let him cut the cord. I don't cut cords. It's too painful. It might be a good idea for me to tell you how I see dating. Fortunately, the waiter comes over with the dessert menu.
Here is the menu for the dessert. We'll take a look.
Merci. It only took me a second to find it. Il flottant. It seemed prudent to order first. As a Catholic, my views on dating are like a plate of kale. Guys move on. Yeah, it hurts, but I know I'll be happier in the end. For once, the gratification was immediate. He quickly told me there'd be no cooking and that I'd never meet anyone like him again. You think? I couldn't get the hope out of my voice. Don't worry, he didn't notice.
For starters, I'm not a liar.
I bit my tongue. Dessert had arrived and I needed to focus. Now I'm smiling broadly. It's the floating island effect. English custard, meringue, caramel. Just don't care if he's a liar or not. By the end of the meal, I'm thinking he has nice eyes. And in spite of the extra years, he looks better now. Sugar high. In parting, he tried to force a kiss. My blood sugar had stabilized, thank God, so he barely noticed my rejection as he reached for a fourth cigarette. I walked away. Winding my way back home through the streets of Montmartre, I played back the good moments. I had no regrets. The floating island was worth the calories.